Okay, picture this. The average consumer today, they're getting hammered with up to 10,000 brand messages every single day. 10,000. With that kind of insane noise, just being seen is nowhere near enough to actually guarantee your business succeeds. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking a deep, authoritative dive into something absolutely crucial for every business leader and entrepreneur out there: building brand trust through responsible journalism. We're going to unpack exactly why earned media literally leaves traditional advertising in the dust when we're talking about real, sustainable growth, and more importantly, how you can ethically leverage it for your own brand.
So let's kick things off with a question that really ought to challenge everything you think you know about your marketing ROI. Why is it that consumers trust a brand featured in a respected news publication way more than one they see in a paid ad? It's a huge question. I mean, you could spend thousands, maybe even millions, on digital ads just to force your way into someone's feed. But here's the reality check. Visibility absolutely does not equal credibility. Not even close. As professionals, we really have to grasp this massive psychological shift that happens when a buyer reads an objective, independent analysis of your company versus when they're just targeted by another sponsored post.
Which brings us to Section 1, the Brand Trust Challenge.
Look, before anyone even thinks about buying from you or trusting your company, they are navigating a literal minefield of information overload. Just think about your own day, right? You try to read one simple article, and you're frantically scrolling past autoplaying videos, swatting away pop-ups, and trying to ignore all that sponsored content perfectly camouflaged in your social feeds. This relentless barrage has created some serious advertising fatigue. People are just tuning out. And with that fatigue comes a really deep, ingrained skepticism. Today's buyers are savvy. They're actively digging through online reviews and hunting down respected industry publications because they are absolutely starved for credible information. They don't want a sales pitch. They want the facts so they can decide for themselves. And that growing skepticism is exactly why traditional promotional messaging is losing its punch so fast.
So, what's the antidote? Let's get into Section 2. What is responsible journalism? At its core, responsible journalism is reporting guided by strict editorial standards. Think accuracy, fairness, verification, transparency, and serving the public interest. Now, did you notice what word is completely missing from that list? Promotion, right? Contrast this with your typical pay-to-play PR, where a brand just buys a sponsored article. We can all spot those a mile away, and because they read like glowing infomercials, they carry almost zero weight. Real, responsible journalism isn't about pushing your messaging or hyping up a new product launch. It's anchored in independent, professional standards. And here's the magic. When your brand earns coverage in that kind of trusted environment, the hard-earned credibility of that publication transfers straight to you. To really get why this matters, put yourself in a journalist's shoes for a second. Let's say a reporter gets a pitch about your company's groundbreaking new tech. They don't just copy-paste your press release. No way. First, they fact-check. They poke holes in your claims to see if they actually hold up. Second, they verify with reliable sources. They're going to call up independent industry analysts to find out if this thing is really as revolutionary as you say it is. Third, they focus on presenting a balanced report. That means they might ask you some really tough questions about downsides or how you stack up against competitors. And finally, they maintain total editorial independence. They write what's true and what matters to their readers, not what your marketing team handed them. Your brand essentially had to survive a rigorous gauntlet of verification to make it to print. And that is exactly why the public trusts the final story.
Moving right along to Section 3, why editorial coverage matters.
There is just a night and day difference between these two mediums. Ads are designed to persuade. Editorial content is expected to inform independently. And you know what? Consumers instinctively get this. They know an ad is just a self-promotional message you paid to shove in front of them. But when they stumble across balanced reporting about your business in a publication they already respect, they view it as highly credible. Why? Because it survived that exact editorial scrutiny we were just talking about. The publication is basically giving you this massive stamp of approval. They're signaling to the market, hey, we look deeply into this company and they actually have something valuable to contribute.
And earned media does a whole lot more than just look pretty in a frame in your lobby. It systematically builds up your brand's credibility and pushes for corporate transparency, which is absolutely vital if you're navigating a tricky product launch or a PR crisis. Plus, journalists provide essential industry context. They take your heavy corporate jargon and translate it into a compelling story that explains exactly why your business matters to the real world. Over time, being the go-to reliable source builds incredible long-term authority and positions your executives as actual thought leaders. But let's talk tech for a second. Digital PR and SEO. This is huge.
Getting a backlink from a heavyweight news site like the New York Times, TechCrunch, or the Wall Street Journal, that is pure digital gold. Google looks at those links as massive votes of confidence. When reputable news sites link back to your domain, your website's authority skyrockets. You rank higher, you grab way more organic traffic, and you easily outpace the competitors who are just burning cash on paid ads.
Now, we need to talk about the flip side in Section 4, mistakes that damage credibility.
Because getting this wrong can be brutal. Let's look at the self-inflicted wounds that will permanently nuke your media relationships. Overstating what you've achieved, fudging statistics to make a campaign look like a win, or hiding important context. That will instantly alienate a newsroom. Then there's the classic rookie trap, treating everything like it's breaking news. Just picture a tech startup blasting out an urgent, embargoed breaking news email to a top-tier national journalist just to announce a tiny bug fix in their app. Yeah, the journalist rolls their eyes, hits delete, and probably blocks that PR rep forever. That bridge is toast. Finally, dodging difficult questions from a reporter, it just shows a fundamental lack of respect for their role. Successful media relationships are built on mutual trust. If a journalist feels like you're just trying to use them as a free PR megaphone without respecting their editorial independence, you are never getting covered by them again. Always remember this. Chasing short-term publicity with exaggerated, blown-up claims will deeply damage your long-term reputation. Sure, it might be super tempting to spin a story just to grab a flashy headline today, but trading away your foundational credibility for a quick PR sugar rush is a terrible business strategy. The ultimate goal for any enduring brand should always be to build meaningful, lasting credibility, not just maximum fleeting publicity. The cost of losing that trust is just way too high. You can almost never buy it back.
So, how do we do it right? Let's get into Section 5, Best Practices for Businesses.
Consider this your ethical, actionable playbook for earning media the right way. Step 1, you got to develop genuinely newsworthy stories. Focus on actual innovation, real measurable impact in your community, or original research. Nobody cares about a generic corporate update. Step 2, bring verified data to the table. Back up your big claims with rock-solid evidence that a journalist can independently check. Step 3, share expert insights. Offer up professional analysis that helps the public understand the broader market implications, rather than just talking about why your specific product is so great. And step 4. Honestly, this is the most critical piece of the puzzle. Build long-term relationships with these journalists. Don't just blindly pop into their inbox when you need a favor. Read their past articles. Comment thoughtfully on their insights. Offer up your top executives as subject matter experts to help them round out a piece, even if the story isn't directly about your company. That is exactly how you become a go-to trusted resource instead of just another annoying pitch.
Which brings us to our final point. Section 6, the future of trust.
We are standing right on the edge of an absolute explosion of AI-generated content. As this automated content becomes wildly common everywhere you look, consumers are going to place an unbelievably high premium on trusted editorial sources. We are staring down a massive flood of automated text, images, and video. In a world where anyone can instantly spin up a 1,000-word article in 3 seconds flat, information itself isn't the valuable commodity anymore. Verification is. How are consumers actually going to know what's real? They are going to retreat straight to the safety of independently verified news. The businesses that are putting in the work right now to establish themselves as transparent, reliable sources through responsible journalism, those are the ones who are going to capture and keep consumer confidence in an increasingly automated world.
It really comes down to this. In a world filled with information, consumers don't simply remember the brands they see most. They remember the brands they trust. Responsible journalism does so much more than just put your name in a headline. It shapes the entire lens through which people judge your company's integrity. So, as we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on for your own strategy. If simple visibility is no longer enough to win over the modern buyer, what specific, concrete steps are you taking today to ensure you are the brand they inherently trust tomorrow?